Let's welcome Deputy Assistant to President Trump. He's Jerron Smith back with us. Your reaction to the president here on his record?
I think the president is showing his leadership that he's been showing the last 4 years. Killing the red tape, getting rid of old regulation leads us back to prosperity. And our team has been focused on getting the economy back going and creating opportunity for all Americans.
You know, here's the thing. Monmouth University is saying that 1 out of 6 Pennsylvania voters are saying, hey, wait a second. The Trump voter doesn't talk to pollsters, doesn't reveal who they're going to vote for. Alyssa Slotkin, a Democrat, has said, watch out, Democrats. The polls routinely undercount Trump voters. The polls may not be catching the Trump voter who's going to go into the ballot box and pull the lever. Because here's the other story, Jerron. I want your reaction to this. Americans want to feel safe. When you look at the polls, they routinely say we need to feel safe. We need to feel secure. We want the economy to prosper. What's your reaction to the country's largest police group endorsing the president last night and not Joe Biden after it endorsed Joe Biden in 2008 and 2012 on the Obama ticket?
Well, I'm not shocked at all because the president's been focused on public safety and protecting the police officers. He's done things like support, making sure we don't get rid of qualified immunity, and then making sure we have due process when we're dealing with bad cops. Those are all things that I think NAPO supports, as well as other police groups like FOP or IACP. We think that law enforcement is the key to creating public safety and also creating opportunities in our inner cities and our most distressed communities all across the country.
Jerron, I want your reaction to the leader of the National Association of Police Organizations. It's got 241,000 cops. It represents 1,000 police organizations. Let's listen to its leader, Mick Mahale, explain to us why they are supporting Trump. Watch this.
There are many issues that President Trump has supported that is of the utmost importance to the rank and file officers throughout the United States that we represent. And as a result of the screening process, which took place earlier today, we proudly announce our endorsement for President Trump. President Trump addressed our board on Monday. The same opportunity was given to Vice President Biden, and as to why the actual participation did not occur, I would defer you to the Vice President and/or the leadership of his campaign.
It's striking, Jerron, that the Biden campaign didn't even address NAPO. Your reaction?
My reaction is, at the end of the day, we want to make sure our police departments need to get the resources they need to do their job and keep communities safe. I think that any individual, if their back is against a wall and they have a problem in their community, you call 911, and you want those first responders to be able to show up and help you feel safe, especially if you're under attack. And so I think the president recognizes that, and we even celebrated them this week with a couple heroes who have saved the lives of many Americans throughout the country.
You know, let's watch former NYPD Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik talk to us last night about what's going on in New York City and the mayor, Bill de Blasio. He says he is, quote, ruining New York. Watch this.
He's going to completely annihilate the city. He's allowing the criminals to get out of prison. He's bringing them off of Rikers. He's not putting anybody in jail for things they've done. He's handcuffed the cops, completely handcuffed the cops from doing the job they have to do. And as a result, we're seeing systemic slaughter of black men and women in the communities of color, and he's not doing a damn thing about it.
Okay, and now watch Patrick Lynch. He's the leader of the Police Benevolent Association here in New York. Watch the former Missouri governor, and watch Carmen Best. She's chief of police in Seattle. Let's watch this.
Our city council, our mayor's office, and the state legislature have handcuffed police officers and given the streets back to the criminal.
As a Navy SEAL, this is what you expect to happen in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. But unfortunately now, it's happening in places like St. Louis and in cities across the country. Last night we had semi-automatic gunfire ringing out in the daylight at a crowded intersection, at a place where people used to take their families.
We will be much less safe if they take 50% of the cops off the streets. They don't have a plan that I've heard to do anything to maintain public safety in the meantime.
Yeah, Seattle's talking about cutting its police budgets in half. Your reaction to all of those sound bites you just heard?
What I would say is you can't politicize public safety. Public safety is essential for all Americans to achieve the American dream. When you see a 1-year-old or a 4-year-old getting shot, we need our law enforcement officers to be there to protect those families. And the truth of the matter is, this stuff hasn't happened overnight. This stuff has been in the making in some of these cities for over 4 years, and they should be held accountable to those people to make sure that they improve the safety of those communities and also work on creating opportunities for those citizens. People are frustrated with some of this leadership and the political activism against the police, and it needs to stop, and the president is willing to step in and do something to help everyone feel safe.
All right, Jerome, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Liz.